Oh, it's not on the big TV. I didn't know. All right, I guess I'm on. Hello, everybody. I'm Tom Vassell. Today is March 9th, 2020. I think Friday the 13th is this week. It is. So, does that matter to anyone? Anyway, welcome to Q&A with Tom Vassell on the Dice Tower. We do Q&As each week. It'll probably be somebody different next week. We'll have different folks come on. But this is a show where you can ask me questions, and I will do my best to answer many of them. I don't promise that I would answer everyone's questions. I will say this. I hope that everyone had a great weekend. We have a lot of cool live things coming up this week. Jeremy is coming in and doing top 10 list with us this week, top 10 adventure games. And then we're going to be doing a live play on Friday. We might do some other live plays, it depends, but the Dice Tower Library is showing up here in Homestead tomorrow. I have the stats from Dice Tower West, the games that are played. I'm not going to really talk about them much right now, if mostly because I'm doing a video on it that's going up. But I will do this. Let me see if I can find this sort of thing here. No, don't save that. So here's some games that were checked out only once at Dice Tower West. I'm just going to mention a few. Fields of Green, Genoa. Crystal Clans, Century Eastern Wonders, Shipyard. Oh, let's check that one. That's good. Tiny Epic Defenders, Dead Panic, Eminent Domain, Tiny Epic Mechs, Tiny Epic Zombies, Arkham Horror 3rd Edition. Really? Stephenson's Rockets, Passing Through Petra, Conan, Shogun, the big box of it, Level 7 Omega Protocol, Assault of the Giants, Rising Sun. I have 2 copies of Rising Sun, so the other one must have been checked out too. Only once, huh? And there's games that were checked out 30, 40 times, and I'll talk about those in my thing. Trans-Europa, Russian Railroads, Magnus Storm. These are all older games, that's why they don't get checked out as much. Dragon's Horde, Archaeology card game. That's a good game. I should be checked out more than that. Zombicide Black Plague. Seventh Continent? Well, that's probably not a convention game, I guess. Vikings Gone Wild. Project Elite. Holding On, The Troubled Life of Billy Kerr. Sidereal Confluence. Well, that's a bigger game. Shootles. Hey, I did that one. That was my checkout. Manhattan. Symphony number 9. Someone asked me about that one. Yao and Yangtze. Huh. Yeah, just a lot of these are surprising to me to see how few times they were checked out. But they were checked out. Different times. Eldridge was only checked out once. But there's a lot of games. And not just hot games, but mostly hot games were checked out multiple times. The game that was checked out the most was checked out 60 sometimes. But the vast majority, there was 200 games that were checked out 8 or more times, and 10 or more times was 153, and then 20 or more times was only 27. That's all the information I'm going to give you about that for now. The rest, watch my video. I go over the top checked out games. Alrighty. How many voters were there for the People's Choice at Top 100? I don't actually know. It's usually well over 1,000. How comes you didn't get to play some of the games in the Board Game Geek Top 100? Because of time? I'm actually very happy with myself at how many I have played. I feel like I've played more than most people. I'm sure there are people who played all of them, but I feel like in life I probably played more games than most people. But yeah, I can't get to everything. I'll get to a few of those games, but by the time I get to them, it'll be a few more. Everdell will happen at some point for sure. Played the Big Tiny Epic Galaxy at Dice Tower Con. Huh. That is cool. I'm now curious how many times that was checked out. Let's look for it. Is it Tiny Epic Galaxy or Galaxies? Looking at all the Race for the Galaxy, Roll for the Galaxy. All right, let's try Galaxies. Epic Galaxies was checked out twice. Although people wouldn't know about it. Tiny Epic Galaxies, that was checked out 7 times. It's probably because those people didn't know. I should put in a lid of that. There's an epic version of this on shelf 7 or whatever. That's, I guess, the most any Tiny Epic game was checked out. Let's do a little search for that. Tiny Epic Quest 3 times. Kingdoms 3 times. Western twice. Defenders once. Mechs once. Zombies once. And Galaxies 7 times. There you go. Have I read the Red Mars trilogy? I think I read one of them once. It was a little slow for me, but I might be thinking about the wrong book. What gaming sins are you guilty of? Oh, many, but I usually share those on Board Game Breakfast as time goes by. How often do you beat Eldridge Horror? Not very often. I think I've beaten it twice, ever. Let's see, where are we at here? Do you think more companies will leave Asmodee like Plaid Hat Games, and which companies will benefit from leaving? I don't know how or if a company will benefit from leaving Asmodee. I mean, obviously you get your independence, but I don't know all the details there. I don't think we'll see a swarm of them leaving. There's not a ton that are tied in. Plaid Hat is only the second company to have left. The first was Heidelberg from Germany. They actually left not too long after they joined. But we'll see which companies leave as time goes by. I'm just not ready for a mass exodus. So I don't even have any guesses as to who, if anyone else, would leave. I was amazed how Catacombs used theme so well that I rarely had to go back to its lengthy rulebook. Are there any games that use theme in this way or better? Oh, lots of games use theme. Lots of them. But without reading the rulebook, that would require a lot of thought. I don't know off the top of my head. I think that a lot of people are waiting for reviews from you on games like Watergate. I reviewed it. Orleans Stories. Have not played it. I've heard nothing but bad about it. Like, nothing good about it. Not one person has told me they liked Orleans Stories yet. And on Mars, I'll get to that eventually. I know that's a fairly complicated game. Are you still going to do the most boring unboxing videos? Yeah, we haven't done one of those in a while for a lot of reasons, mostly because of conventions and just I was getting in so much stuff that wasn't games. I didn't want to get it all mixed together. I will start one of those up soon, but we just haven't done one for a while because there's so much other stuff coming in the mail right now. Intrepid Games canceled their Kickstarter for Lander. Do you have any feedback for them to hopefully increase their chances of success in a future relaunch? Well, if I did have feedback for them, it would be for them. I don't know that I would publicly say any feedback I have, but I will say I did enjoy the game of it that I played. Where did you get this fine hat from? Actually, this is not one of my favorite hats. It's white. It works out okay. This one I bought, I think it was on eBay. I remember distinctly that this one came from a set of... Like, there was like a bunch of fedoras, random fedoras for $50, like 6 random fedoras, something like that. I don't remember. I don't know that I would do it again because only 2 of them I really liked that came in. There was this one and there was a blue and black one, which I really enjoyed. I'm not as big of a fan of these straw ones. I like the felt ones a little better. What was my favorite part about Dice Tower West this year? Oh, just the people were overwhelmingly nice, and I had such a good time talking to everybody. It was fantastic. That was easily my favorite part. What were the top games brought by participants at Dice Tower West? I would not know that. I saw a lot of people bringing in Eclipse, I guess, was being played by several people. Just took a cruise and had a hard time finding a place to play games. Where do you set up for your cruise? There's a conference room, and also we take over some of the dining halls there. If you're looking for a place to play games, usually the library has a table to play games in. If you have played Cthulhu Death May Die, could you share your impressions about it? I was ambivalent on it. It was okay. I only played once. It just felt like roll dice and hit stuff. I don't know. I know there's a lot of games I play that I like that do that. I don't know what kept me from getting that involved with it. I just thought it was fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't really love it. If I never play it again, I'll be okay. Looking forward, I'm hoping Wingspan Swift Start will be a trend, says Robert. Have you seen that? I've heard of it. I have not actually seen it. If it's from what I understand, it's a really quick way to jump in the game. I do like when games have these things involved with them. Aeon Zen did it. A few other games do that. I like when games do that. It would be a nice trend for sure. Thanks for the spaghetti pie day. I made it twice now, and it's been added to our dinner rotation. It's delicious. Was just watching your old Android Netrunner review the other day where you said you would revisit in a year or two. Whatever happened to that time? Well, here, I'll revisit for you now. I did play it as time went by. In fact, I definitely played it a year or two later. I got turned off from the game because the only people who were really willing to play was with the Android Netrunner community, and they were so diehard and so deep in the game, it just wasn't interesting at all for me to play against them. They just destroyed me, and I didn't even know what I was doing. The game got meta really quickly, and there was just too much, and I couldn't remember the terms. So I get that it's a good game. A lot of people enjoy it, but for me, it was almost work. Playing the game, if I played it all the time, was really involved with it, it'd be a lot easier. I just didn't have the time to do that. Do you think the trend to put more and more in Kickstarters will subside in the foreseeable future? It doesn't seem to be. My friend paid $100 in shipping for his Mythic Pantheon. Yeah, that's true. Have you seen the movie Parasite? I have not. With the new edition of Cosmic Encounter having translucent ships for the base 5 colors, do you ever see them releasing translucent ships for the expansion colors? Huh. I don't know. It seems like something they might do for a tournament or something. Enjoyed updated components of Wingspan. You may want to have... I feel like there's no end to the sentence there. Are we attending the UK Games Expo this year? Things look positive in that regard. Not 100% finished, but looking good. We'll announce it as soon as everything is done. King of Tokyo Dark Edition looks interesting. It looks like King of Tokyo with some tweaks and a darker motif on it, but it looks like something fun. I'll try to get a copy for sure. What is often a justification for gamers owning 2 or 3 copies of a game? I've seen this more lately, and I don't understand why. I don't know anyone who does do that. I would imagine if you love a game and you're worried that it will go out of print and it'll be hard to find a copy of it, you might do so. Some people might buy one to keep and one to play. I'm not a big fan of that. The only reason I could see it is if you love a game so much, you know you're going to wear through it and need another copy. But people can do what they want, obviously. If you had to choose to play and review for the rest of your life only new games or existing games as is or with new expansions, I would do only new games. I just like the new experiences. You ask which older board games that I recommend. Well, the easy way to do that is to look at my top 100 and just look through it by like the date that the games came out. Many of the games in top 100 are very new, and I like a lot of new stuff, but there are also games that are classic and have been there for a while. Do you know the board game Small World? I do. I've reviewed it. You can check that out. I saw the new artwork for the starter set of Battleground Fantasy Warfare. I know they did a Kickstarter for it, but I thought they redid that. They kickstarted it back in 2019 here. I didn't think the artwork was that new. It looked almost identical. So if there's new artwork that I don't know about, unless they've released an update recently where they said looks the same. Maybe you have a link to it. I don't know that there's new artwork for it at all. It looks very, I mean, if it is new, it looks very similar to the original artwork. Have you guys made a top 10 4-player games? I don't think we have, but it's one of the ones that it's my least interesting one to do, because our top 10 games are almost always either 2 or 4-player games as it is. If you go like at my top 100, if I did my top 4-player games, they would be really obvious stuff from the top 100. That's why. Enjoyed the upgrade components of Wingspan, says Diana. You may want to have someone from your staff enlarge the end of round goal sheet and laminate it so it fits the larger birds. Yeah, you know, I thought about that myself because it was made for cubes and now we got birds, so it's harder to put them on it. That's not a bad idea. I guess we could just scan it, make it bigger, and then laminate it. That seems like something we could do. Really enjoyed the 4-way review of Wingspan. Can you share what is coming up? I can. The next one of those that we're doing is Champions, Marvel Champions versus Marvel Legendary. So we'll be talking about those two games, which ones we like better, and comparing them. If we might like one and not like the other, you'll have to wait and see. Any advice on how to publish your own game? Well, my initial response to that is don't. But we did a top 10 tips for publishers and designers. I would recommend checking those out. Cthulhu Death May Die has some cool scenarios that are more than punch monsters in the nose. If you like those kind of games, it's worth it. Check out some online reviews and plays. Sure, I get that, and I know that there's more to it than that, but the system itself just didn't interest me that much. Again, I'm not saying it's bad. The Cthulhu mythos isn't super interesting to me anyway. I feel like it's overdone. There's just so much of it out there, right? I already enjoy. I have Mansions of Madness and Eldridge Horror. There's Arkham Horror, the card game. Arkham Horror. This is from one company also that's doing all this stuff. Now I know that this is a different company making Death May Die, but I don't know. It's just not. Cthulhu has never like really been that attractive to me as a theme. Tom, are you a fan of the Stormlight Archive and think it's the best fantasy series ever? I'd like to clarify that. I think it's the best series ever. Like, it's my favorite series of books I've ever read. Yes, I'm excited about book 4. I was super pleased earlier this year when Brandon Sanderson tweeted out that he finished it. And I've read the other Sanderson books. I've read almost everything he's written. I'm sure there's stuff that I've missed that he's written. I like it for the most part. I just was looking at Legion, a book he wrote, which I thought was okay comparatively to the other stuff that he's written. But, you know, I just like it. I like his stuff a lot. It took this long for this question to be asked. How do you think the coronavirus outbreak will affect conventions this year? And the simple answer is, I don't know. I know that South by Southwest was canceled. Come On Expo was canceled. Gamma, which is going on right now, was not canceled, but a good 20 or so publishers / distributors did not show up, and I don't know how many stores didn't go. We got some folks from the Dice Tower who are there right now, and we'll report on all the news that we get from there. How this will affect conventions in the future is just going to be a watch and see, a case-by-case basis. After all these years, what's your total data storage now? We don't keep all our reviews. We just wouldn't have the space for them. We have some really big servers here in which I know we keep a lot of our reviews. We might actually I'll have to talk to Kenny. I'm not sure if we've kept reviews from the last years, if we drag them there and save them or not. But yeah, there's just so much space. It's just easier to leave them on YouTube, which I guess means if the video was ever destroyed by YouTube, we wouldn't have them anymore. But I don't know. I saw the bits on Board Game Breakfast from Marvel Champions. Where were those acquired, or did Roy 3D print them? No, those are acrylic. They're not 3D printed. And we got those from Etsy. They're amazing. I really like them. They're pricey, but I thought they were really good. Oh, the best theme park game for my family. Troll Park's Theme Park, Coaster Park. I don't know the best theme park. There's not enough yet that I could even do a top 10 list on the subject. I'm still waiting for a really good game about making your own theme park would be, like a Suburbia style game. I'm surprised that no one's made one like that yet. It'd be really fun. How many tickets are left for Dice Tower Treat? Not many. I mean, I want to say we've sold 150. So I may be closing that very soon anyway. I've not heard you talk about video games in a while. Any video games you're looking out for? Nope. I don't normally look for video games. When they come out, they come out. Although yesterday I went online and looked to see when the sequel for Skyrim is coming out. And that's because the last trip we went, which was to Vegas, I decided to play a little bit of Skyrim on the Switch. And now I'm playing Skyrim a lot. I was in Skyrim last night. I was in Skyrim the day before. And my kids are also all playing Skyrim. So it's kind of fun. We're all talking about the different things we're doing in Skyrim as we go across. Everyone's following different paths and doing different things. I'm trying to make sure I'm the highest level over the kids. It doesn't really matter. This time I'm playing slightly more evil than I normally do. I still can't be completely evil. I just can't do it. But I'm very intolerant this time. Some people come to me and are like, get out of our way. I'm like, really? I'm trying to be super archer in this one, which is, I think, a little harder to do. Not as hard as mage. I think the next time I play, I'm gonna mage it up. But I'm still really enjoying the game. It's amazing. It came out 9 years ago, or almost 9 years ago, and it still holds up really well. The only thing is, I wish I could I played on the Switch. I wish I could mod it. I saw somewhere online that said you could mod the Switch, but I wouldn't even know how to start with that. I would need a tutorial on how to do it. Then I'd be worried that it would mess my games up and such. But man, I love the mods that there are for Skyrim. I love to add some in. But even if I can't add the mods in, there's just so much good content out there. I really like Skyrim. Oh yeah, there was a link to the Etsy store if you wanted to see that Marvel Champion stuff. First time coming to Dice Tower, will there be play-to-win games? If not, why? Well, I mean, I'm going to imagine no, if someone's willing to run it, but the main reason why is because it requires a lot of running. I would like to do play-to-win games. I think play-to-win's a cool idea. If you never heard of it before, play-to-win means there's a separate shelf of games or shelves of games. You just take one off, you check them out, like from the library. And I guess I should have mentioned that in my Dice Tower West stats, that a lot of people were doing that too. But anyway, you check out these games, you play them, and then you write down your name if you played the game. And then they draw one of the people who played the game, and one of those people wins the game at the end. So you're winning a used copy that a lot of people have played, but it's a cool way to do it. It's good for publishers. I think there's a lot of really good aspects to the system. The negative part of it, obviously, is the amount of work it takes to run that. You need someone to man the play-to-win thing consistently. And so since we're moving Dice Tower East and we're setting up in a new area and we have a completely new volunteer staff, it doesn't look like it's something I'm going to be running this year, although you might see it run in the future. Have I played Stardew Valley? I never remember what these games are called. I don't remember if I have Stardew Valley on Steam. I have to say, one thing that I found really unfun for me was with the new Apple update. And I'm getting used to Apple updates. You know, they happen, and I usually kind of delay when they come out. No, I don't have Stardew Valley. I was looking at my list of games that I have on Steam, and Stardew Valley's on it. But half my games here don't work in the new Catalina. So And a lot of these games I don't even care about. So, and then I got some games on here. I got Skyrim here, but that's only for PC. I bought it on Steam years ago. Fallout, which doesn't work for the Mac. I got my Jackbox stuff here. I have Off-World Trading Company. Parkitect, which is kind of like a roller coaster tycoon, but not as good, really. Pillars of Eternity, which is good, although Pillars of Eternity 2 doesn't work for whatever reason, which was kind of a pain because that's a newer game. Quiplash. Sid Meier's Civ 6. And that's it. All the rest of my games no longer work, or I don't have many games. I don't buy many video games at all. I usually am very specific to when I buy a video game, I want to buy a video game I can play a really long time. I mean, for example, Skyrim. I've got my money's worth out of that 20 times over. I love stuff like that. I love the Final Fantasies. I love open world games. I like simulation games. One of my favorite games I played, Transport Tycoon, back in the day. A few years ago, I found it online. Moving the trains and planes around. The problem is, for some reason in the last year or so, it's been crashing in my browser, unfortunately. But that was really cool. I like that. I'd love to see an update to Transport Tycoon, but I haven't found one I felt that really did a good job of it. I had one on Steam. What was it called? Should be here because I have it on Steam. Of course, now my mouse isn't working on Steam. There we go. What was that called? I thought I had it. I had a game. Oh, Cities in Motion. Cities in Motion, which also does not work anymore. But Cities in Motion just did not work for me as well as Transport Tycoon. So anyhow, I'm getting way off in video games. Let's jump back here. Do you think Ryan Laukait's Near and Far replaces previous Above and Below? For me, but not for everybody. Let's go back to stats. Dice Tower West. Let's see how long each of those got played. So Near and Far got played twice. That's too few. Above and Below got played 5 times. So there you go. Do I have more than one of those? Yeah, I have 2 Near and Fars. They each got played twice. How many Above and Belows do I have? Just one that got played 5 times. Well, apparently I had 2 copies of the wrong game. How old does a game have to be considered a classic? Who knows? It's all arbitrary. Been enjoying the guest list. The one with Rada was a lot of fun too. I'm glad. I really, it's interesting to me. There's been a decent amount of comments in the list with Rada where people said, I don't think you guys get along. Man, dude. Sure. See, that's the thing, though. We get along really well. We just really, really disagree on these things in good fun, right? The one thing that I really have always enjoyed about Rado is he has this incredible work ethic, which I've always admired. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that other content creators don't have a work ethic, but Rado just keeps going, keeps working hard. And I also like that he says what he thinks, and when he says things, I'm like, that's crazy, that's wrong, but we can do that in good fun. And I really enjoyed doing that top 10 list with him, and I hope to think he enjoyed it with me also. All right, we got a thing here from Bach. Thank you for your support, Bach. He says, what other hobbies do you have besides board game? Reading. I read a lot. Music. Each week I always listen on Spotify to the music you might enjoy. I go through it and add some new stuff. And yeah, those are my 2 other hobbies. And video games, I guess, on the side. So Dice Tower West, how do you choose aliens and cosmic encounter? When I play a game with new people, which is like 99% of all my games now, I will take all the aliens and I'll just start sorting through them. Like, ooh, that's interesting, that one's interesting, that one's interesting, and I'll pick 30 interesting aliens. Shuffle them, give everyone 3, let them pick 1. That way I'm seeing interesting aliens. I also try to pick ones that aren't too complex or that's too weird to work with, or if I've already seen one that gets in the mix and I'm like, these 2 don't necessarily work really well together, then I might not do it. It's very random of me, I guess, but that's how I do it. I always tell people if they're not sure, pick green ones, because the green, they have the light in the top corner, green, yellow, or red. The green ones are the easiest to play. Never thought about making a series to debate game design tips or trendy ideas like the reroll on Wingspan. I have a new game series that's in, actually I'm starting a new series this week. It's a personal one that just I'm doing. I hope you guys enjoy it. And I have another idea that I'm still fleshing out. We do more Dice Tower Dives. Dice Tower Dive is currently in hiatus because we've moved the reroll to the front. But it might come back at some point. Do you take into account price when reviewing a game? Not considerably. Sometimes I'll take it into account if the game is extremely expensive or extremely inexpensive. Sushi Go Party, for example, extremely inexpensive. Cthulhu Wars, extremely expensive. Other than that, it's hard because the price may be $5 by the time you watch the review. So I normally don't. It also might be $200. I don't know. I also don't know how relevant price is to you. For you, throwing $100 at a game may be no big deal. For you, $100 may be saving up for a year. So price is very, very all over the place. It might be, there's just so much involved that I very rarely mention it. Where is the 4-way Wingspan review? It's called Dice Tower Reroll. Am I just bad at keeping up, or is it hard to keep track of new releases of games? Oh, it's not you. It's everyone. We can't keep up with it. What character and build do you play in Skyrim? Stealth Archer? Not really a Stealth Archer. This time I'm playing an archer who just walks around, and I'm anti-stealth. I'm walking around in heavy armor and stuff, but I play very specifically the way I go through my quests, so minor spoilers. But I play with all the expansions, the downloadable content. That's not mods. And so I go and I find Selenia from Dawnguard expansion, and rather than finish her quest or even progress it much at all, I just take her around with me. She's fantastic. That gives you 2 companions. And then I went and got, I can't remember his name, but the other expansion from the island that you go to, there's a guy in there, pretty strong magic character, so I have him on board. So these 2, I have to be careful. Sometimes I run up to a fight and I don't even get a chance. They just demolish all the enemies. So there's that. I like I like traveling with a group anyway. It's so dumb that these NPCs, which are kind of stupid in how they run around and do stuff, but it just makes you feel less alone in the world, right? I got people that I'm with, even if they're computer-generated people. So, who's your favorite character from Stormlight? Oh, why can I not remember her name now? The 13, 14-year-old girl who was introduced between books 1 and 2. But here's what I like about the Stormlight Archives is I like so many of the characters. I like the way the romance was done. I like the main romance was done in a way that it kind of curved in a way you weren't expecting. But I mean, there's some pretty bad characters. Brandon Sanders doesn't have any problem making someone be bad. But man, there are so many good characters. Even the character that you think is really bad at the beginning in chapter 1 of the very, very first one, I like that character a lot too. Yeah, there's even a character who is baddish, I think, as time goes by. I mean, he's still a bad guy, but in book 3, but you understand his reasoning for what he does. And it's I don't know, I just really enjoy the characters. Did I play Elder Scrolls Oblivion? I did. I played it back in the day a lot. I had a PC back then. I really enjoyed Oblivion. I played every Elder Scroll game. Oh, wait. I don't think I played the first one. Played Daggerfall. I played I played Morrowind a lot, and I played Oblivion. I enjoyed Oblivion. It was the first one I ever added mods to. It was cool. The one thing I didn't like about Oblivion was this constant having to go down and fight like through a little demon area or whatever. It was kind of, those all got very samey after a while. But the overworld and stuff, it was cool. But Skyrim was just perfect for me. Yes, there's still problems. There's still hang-ups in Skyrim. It still does weird things and stuff, but it was a lot of fun. Would you say Western Legends is your favorite Western theme game? Yes, probably. Have you heard anything new in the Kickstarter for Lords of Vegas? I have not. I was underwhelmed with Cthulhu Wars and wonder if they use cardboard standees instead of minis if anyone would play it. That's my concern with Funkoverse. Does it stand up as a game first? Well, sure, but I don't know that I would play almost any of my favorite miniature game with cardboard standees because they're just not that fun to play with. You could make that argument with everything, and it's not a fair argument to make. So, for example, I could say, well, if they were on badly scrawled pieces of paper, would you like this? Not particularly. I don't know that I'd like any game. The miniatures enhances my enjoyment of the game, and it's almost disingenuous to sometimes to say, well, it's just because of the miniatures. Certainly miniatures help a game, and certainly the miniatures in Cthulhu Wars are, in my opinion, too big, right, for that game. But I like miniatures, and yes, the game is good, but if the game was good and didn't have miniatures, I wouldn't probably give it a second look because it's just not fun to move around a bunch of cardboard counters, or standees even. They're hard to see from different angles. You know, it's not like miniatures is a new thing. I've been playing with minis since Axis and Allies. So I can understand you being underwhelmed with Cthulhu Wars. I thought it was a fine game myself, but Funkoverse is a super fun game. And yes, part of that is that you're using a little Funko people. I have over 4,000 games on Steam. Trying to pick one to play is a beast. Yeesh, that is a lot. My account is 10 years old, though. That's still 400 games a year. Do you ever decide if a game is good before playing it? Oh, sure. But sometimes I'm wrong. I don't decide. I just assume. Have you ever seen someone play a game and just know it will be the next great game? Seen someone play one? No. But I played a game once and I'll say, this is going to be a big game. Ian O'Toole is here in the comments. Well, hello, sir. Everyone, he did graphic design for many games. In fact, a game I have over on my pile to review, not this week, but I believe Clinic was Ian O'Toole. If you picked a Dominion card, which one would describe you? I don't know. Curse. Yeah, the Catalina with the Steam thing, I understand Catalina was a necessary update, and I don't get too upset over these things. That's how life is. That's just how technology is. But I mean, I just play less video games. It's not that big of a deal to me. But there you go. The Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming out in April. I have heard that, and I heard it's really good, but I don't think it's for any system I have. I only have a Mac and a Switch. So if it's not for one of those two systems, I'm not worried about it. Can you do a top 10 pull out and play? That's an interesting one. I wouldn't call it that. Fast setup maybe is a better terminology. Let's see here. Any other live shows besides this and breakfast planned this week? Well, like I said, we have a top 10 and a playthrough coming out on Friday. We also have possibly, again, depends on how much work the library takes us to do tomorrow. I'm assuming it will be a considerable amount of work. But once that's set up and in the thing, then we'll come back. We might do a live playthrough. We're considering playing the new Magic the Gathering game. There was something else I was going to play with Roy too, but I can't remember what it was. Hey, Tom, have you tried good old Chinatown? I have. I like Chinatown, but I wouldn't compare it to Cosmic Encounter. You said because of the negotiation aspect. For me, the problem with Chinatown is the game is almost, it's gone down for me, because in Chinatown everyone needs to know the value of everything, and if one person makes a slightly unfavorable trade towards themselves and help somebody else out, that can really swing the game in Chinatown. It's a really delicate game. I am shocked points out wasn't in the top 10 played for the cruise. Well, I don't know why we're talking about the cruise, but it's possible that people didn't check it out when they played it. It was over in those plastic bins. B, I would imagine it might show up on the Dice Tower West stats, so wait for that video. Tom, I was very sad to find out you guys didn't review Sid Meier's Civilization, a board game in 2010. Why is that? I know exactly why that one never got reviewed, and that's because in 2010, I was moving to America. It was during the transitional period that that game came out. For some reason, it just never made its way to me. I did play it, and I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was okay. It's been a long time since I played it, so I'd like to play it again, maybe to see how my thoughts have changed on it at some point, which will probably never happen. And it just was in the perfect storm of, because we were moving and stuff, it just never got reviewed. And by the time I got around, well, it's no longer a game. I mean, it's an old game. So that's why. I find it odd that Rado seems to not be able to find a game group to play with. He always says he only plays with 2 players. Well, I can't speak for him, but from what I understand, that's what he really enjoys doing with his wife. Let's see here. Do you own any crazy hats like bunny hats worn by Eric and Chris for your top 10 at Dice Tower West? Well, I have some crazy hats. I have really crazy Christmas hats, I think. What's your new series about? Well, that would be telling. We'll see what happens. Oh, the series I'm doing this week about. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't actually announce it on Board Game Breakfast, but it's just going to be a series. It's a 20 video series. I'm not going to finish it this week. It's going to take a month probably to finish it, or 3 or 4 weeks anyway. That's a month. It's games that changed my life. So I'm just going to be going through my life, picking various games, talking briefly about what this particular game meant to me, how it changed my life, minor or majorly wise, and just thoughts on that. Would you consider inviting the Shut Up, Sit Down to do a top 10? Possibly, although there's a couple caveats to that. We would have to bring them over from England, which would be extremely expensive. We're trying to bring in people in America for now. That's unfair, but we also have a budget, right? So we have to keep that in mind. Also, if we brought one in, we would need to bring in both, and then it wouldn't be... See, when it's America, someone can come in, record with us, and turn around and go right back out. Turn and burns are much harder to do overseas. We haven't brought anyone from overseas yet. Any update on the TV show pilot you appeared on, which is above board? I promise you, as soon as I know, I will announce it. How often do you have to buy games for reviews as opposed to having them sent to you from the company? We buy a certain amount of games. It's all kind of confused now on how that works, because there's also games I hunt down for the library. I back a decent amount of Kickstarters under a secret account that come in, and I can choose to review those or not. You know, sometimes they're just not that good, and they're not going to get reviewed. And sometimes I want to review them anyway, even though they're not that good. It all depends. What are my favorite 3 characters in Funkoverse? Kool-Aid Man, because of the character. I like the T-Rex a lot. Probably one of the Golden Girls. I don't know. There's a lot of good ones. Would I consider ranking all the Dice Throne characters at some point? Maybe. Gamma. I won't be at Gamma this year, but my marketing manager, Lindsay, will be there, Mark Street will be there, and Corey from Dice Tower Dish will be there. So they're going to be handling that side of things. I didn't want to fly back from West and fly back to Gamma at the same time. Lift. That's right. That's the name of the character from Stormlight Archives. Yeah, she's probably my favorite character. I really like her. She's not actually in the book a ton, although he wrote a small novelette where she is the main character. I enjoyed her. She just felt very different. Thank you for all the people saying nice things about Dice Tower West, by the way. Will you do the top 10 Ameritrash list anytime soon? I don't have that planned. Have some impression that we didn't have many new great Ameritrash games the last few years? I don't know. I feel like there's tons of great games. Whenever people say not many good games are coming out lately, I just feel like we're in different hobbies. More good games came out in 2019 than came out the entire decade of the 80s and probably 5 years in the 90s. It's crazy that people, I mean, I get that we're all getting more jaded, I guess, as time goes by. There are so many amazing games. And Ameritrash, I mean, alone, Unmatched and Funkoverse both came out last year. That's pretty strong right there. Tainted Grail, Nemesis came out at the beginning of the year, I think. I mean, there's so many good games, and those are just a few. Have you watched the Board Crazy guys? I don't actually know who that is. They're called Board Crazy. I'm finding their YouTube channel now. Well, I'll have to look at it. I honestly, I've not heard of these gentlemen before. I'll have to look at it at some other point. So, thanks. How much do YouTube reviewers influence? With how much YouTube reviewers influence how a board game becomes a hot item in the market? Oh, okay, I see. Do you think a small new publisher designer always have to resort to reviewers for exposure? No, I don't think you have to. I think it's a little crazy not to, and that sounds super self-serving, so let me rephrase here in a sense. I'm not saying you have to send a game to Dice Tower, and if you don't send one to Dice Tower, you will fail. Not even close to saying that. Obviously, there's a lot of games that are very successful without being sent to the Dice Tower, for sure. And if Dice Tower disappeared tomorrow, games will continue to sell, and the market would be just fine. I think the Dice Tower moves the needle on games occasionally. I don't know how strong. I do know that we review a ton of games, so people who review fewer games but get a lot of views per video, like Shut Up and Sit Down, definitely can move the needle on a game, for sure. And Rado can move the needle on games, and we move it on games a little bit. If I was a board game company, I would send it to all the big reviewers for sure. I would not send it to all the reviewers because there's just so very many of them, and you can't afford to send out 300 games or whatever. So I would look for people that had different audiences and different reaches and try to get it to them. Any chance you'll start adding the 15 or 20-year reviews on your look-back segments? I don't think my video editors would be pleased about that because that's more work. I don't know. I don't think I'll do it for maybe 3 or 4 years before I add to 15, because I can't do 20 right now because I didn't start reviewing till 12. So, not till 12, till 02, I mean. So it's not been 20 years. I haven't been reviewing games for 20 years. 15 I could do, but then I have to go figure out what written reviews I did around that time. And I don't know that that would really serve any useful purpose. So I might wait, do 15 once I get to video reviews. So I started them in 2008. So in 23 I might start doing 15. And at that point, I might also go back and do 20, maybe. I don't know. And my video editor is like, I hope he's not watching this. Like, what? 1, 5, 10, 15, 20? That's a lot of reviews to go through. Good luck with the clinic review. That game destroyed my brain. Oh, indeed. That was a very intense game. It felt like a Lacerda game, frankly. I do feel like it, spoiler alert, a little bit, but I'm surprised about the vast emphasis on parking in that game. Like, I didn't know that doctors cared so much about parking, but apparently that's a thing. Do you have a favorite method or tactic you like to play in Dominion? No, actually, I try to play a different way every game if possible. King of Tokyo and Dead of Winters has standees and still does well. Sure, but I don't think those are what we would consider to be a miniature game anyway. Maybe King of Tokyo, and but you're not moving things around the board. There's literally one space in King of Tokyo. You move into Tokyo, you move back in front of you. That's it. Dead of Winter, yeah, has standees instead of miniatures. I'd be hesitant to call that one too. And yeah, they do well. But I'll tell you what, King of Tokyo, if it had miniatures, I think would do even better, for sure. Any chance you release a spreadsheet of the games that were checked out at Dice Tower West? Maybe. I don't know if I want to release the whole spreadsheet or not. Am I planning on getting Animal Crossing on Switch for your family? Maybe. I know the kids would probably really like that one. I'm not going to get it for myself. I played Animal Crossing on the... Was it the Game Boy? No, the DS, I guess, was Animal Crossing. Yeah, that's where I played it. So annoying. So annoying. If I ever do top 10 annoying characters in that game, it's that guy who comes on. I mean, there's two. There's the guy who puts you in debt at the beginning and acts like he's doing you a favor. Then there's the guy who, if you turn the game off in the middle, which sometimes you have to do, yells at you for a while. And then it's a nice game. I get why people like it. You just go around, you fish, you do things, you deliver tasks. I don't know. It's like if there's one thing good I'll say about it, it's very similar to a lot of games where people go on iPad and they'll play these games where you constantly do stuff and add things and play with new characters without having to pay more money. So there's that benefit to it. Do you still find yourself playing the games that you design, specifically Nothing Personal? I haven't played Nothing Personal in years. I'm surprised. I keep waiting at a convention like someone's going to pin me and say, can we play Nothing Personal? I suppose I would. It hasn't happened. It's happened a few times and I haven't had the time. Speeding through here. Let's see, I'm just looking for some questions because we're almost done here. Any chance of having Monaco pay to fly over all 16 Frixelia's siblings for a top 10? Highly doubtful. I liked your video on the first edition of Cosmic Encounter. How did you get your hands on such an old copy in such good condition? I want to be careful because I know that I got one copy. Someone sent me one. Try to remember who sent me, or I bought that at a convention. Either way, it was basically a gift. Very, very nice. Excuse me. It was not. It's a really nice gift. It's not a cheap game to get, and so I was really happy to have it. It's one of the few games I would have because it's just old, and that's cool. I've not played the new Root expansion. I do have it. It looks good. I just haven't played it yet. Any news on the Dice Tower Kickstarter Pledge Manager? Well, I know they're working on it as we speak, actually. Kenny, our office manager, has been working on it. He was working on it Friday, putting it together. It should be launched. We have to stress test and everything once it goes out. I will say this, though. I'm going to post an update on the Kickstarter soon, but it likely, unfortunately, as with every other Kickstarter that's been currently funded, I would not be surprised if our Kickstarter stuff is delayed due to China being shut down for a month or so due to the virus. We'll have to wait and see, though. What are some of the most sought-after jobs in board gaming right now? I guess all of them? It's not very often there's a board game job that's empty. Thank you for all the people who are saying nice things about having guests come in. Let's see here. What music do you listen to? Happy music. I don't know how else to describe it. If music is happy, I'll put it on there. Let's see, how do you choose games that you play live with publishers? Our games that we play live with publishers, that is a paid service that the publishers do, usually. Sometimes we'll make an exception, but publishers have to come down here and play with us. So, you know, for them to come down and set all that up, we don't have time to do all of them. It's a paid service for us. Now, it's something that we really like doing. It's fun, especially when the designer's there explaining the game. Makes it a whole lot easier to play. But that's kind of, I mean, I do say that I have the, I get to decide if we're going to do a game or not. So I'll take a look at a game and I'll look over and say, nah, it seems interesting. So the vast majority of the ones that we do, I was interested in the game anyway. Doesn't mean I've always, excuse me, got some, I think this drink went down the wrong way. The vast majority of the games that we played I've really enjoyed, but I kind of pre-selected them that way. I haven't enjoyed all of them, but I always enjoy the game. Play, not necessarily enjoy the game. But that's because it's all just, I just have fun playing with people. Do you keep track of your wins? I do not. Will you post any stats about Dice West? How many people from how many countries? That's interesting. I don't know that info. That might happen. Did I hear correctly that before the studio you recorded in the master bedroom of your house? Yes, but I mean, that's the main reason I got the house, was so that I could use the master bedroom as a studio. That's why we moved in there. We wouldn't have ever used the master bedroom as a bedroom anyway. I've never understood that. I guess some people that's a big deal for them. But when all the kids move out and we're on our own and we go to a house with a master bedroom, we'll still probably pick a smaller room for our bedroom because we literally we're in there very infrequently. Well, I guess you sleep in there a lot, but I'd rather have a bigger room to do things in. So it's now that I've moved out of the house and we're here, the quote-unquote master bedroom is the den of our house. It's where we got, like, Jimmy has his toys in there and games in there. It's my home office, and also we watch TV shows and stuff together in there. Tom really touches his face a lot. Yes, I know, but I have an itch on my nose, and that's why, and I apologize. But I'll wash my hands when we're done here. Let's see here. Just a question or two more. What are 10 things besides pie that are flavored key lime that you like? I don't know if I have 10 things, but key lime hot sauce I love. Key lime seasoning spice I also really enjoy. Key lime cookies are amazing. Key lime empanada. Forgot that. That's number one, actually. Key lime. There's a place here in town that makes the key lime empanada, and it's amazing. Yeah, there's not even a close number two, but then it's hot sauce. And then spice, and then cookies. What else have I had? Key lime. I've had key lime. Oh, milkshake. I'm sorry. Hang on. Moving the milkshake up to number two. So it's empanada, milkshake. Oh, I've had key lime ice cream. So ice cream. Then hot sauce. No, hot sauce is better than ice cream. And then spice. And then cookies. What else have I had that's key lime? Key lime cake is okay. I'll put that on the list, I guess. It's good, but I mean, it's not as good as the rest of them. Key lime fudge. Ooh, for key lime fudge. I haven't eaten sweets since I left Vegas. So don't be key liming me here. I'm trying to be a man of health and slow down on the amount of food and the sweet foods. And I shall continue to do so, despite the fact that you're asking me about key lime. And before I did this video, we did a discussion on key lime here in the studio. Why did we? I don't know. That's it, folks. I'm sure there'll be more questions and answers. Like I said, we'll be live later on this week. I don't know when. For sure on Thursday. For sure. Maybe on Wednesday if we have time. But there's videos going up every day. So I hope to see you guys for those. But that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching the live Q&A. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Dice Championships 2020. We're in the middle of the season here, and it's been a critical thing here. The polynomial / rounded dice team is doing extremely well. They have won every match. They are undefeated. It is an amazing thing to see. We have the new Marble Horde team coming out. No one really likes them very much. They're declared to be hard to read, but that's how it works here. So their match is about to start. It's exciting. These teams have been fairly cordial, mostly because, as far as we can tell, the Marble Horde team never talks. All right, and here we go. Well, that's a bad way to start. 6-5. So once again, the first rounded die has been eliminated. It does seem like the rounded dice get eliminated often. They're considered to be a weak point on the team, 2-1. Well, maybe not. But I don't know, 5-1. That's 2 rounded dice that have been eliminated. Five to 2. Well, it's kind of an even spread so far. But that's because the big polynomials haven't started yet. There's a lot of people who don't stick around for these matches more. They're not very exciting. But in this one, and there's a thing, I've heard that we have something special planned. 4-2. Well, the rounded dice are doing better than normal. 6-2. So far, 4 of them have won their match. As opposed, only 3 of the 4-1. The rounded dice are doing much better. And this is actually not a very good news for the Horde. Again, an undefeated team here. And so they're getting a little cocky. That's why they even send in the round dice first. 4-3. 5-4. So, Bob, how was your weekend? I don't want to talk about it. Bob, come on. We're on air, and you're always... mean things happen when we're on air. Bob, you know I have the biggest care for you. I don't think you do. Well, I had a fantastic weekend. I got to spend time at a plush resort with some of these dice, and it was a very cool thing. Got some nice 1-on-1 time in with the teams. There's a double elimination, 4-4. Nice play there. 2-2, another double elimination. If there's a triple elimination, the next 6 dice are automatically eliminated. That's a rule? Yeah, but it's hardly ever invoked. Do you know what the chances are of having 3 ties in a row? If you're Tom Vassell, it's pretty high. Well, that's a pretty in joke here, folks. You think our viewers will get it? 6-5. A round die finally won one there. 6 to 1. All right. So the rounded dice have not done tremendously well, but now the polynomial dice are kind of snickering because here is where they're going to go. But it looks like they're going to be invoking the 2 dice against 1 rule. So let's get this started. That's a 4 to 7. That's 2 dice eliminated. Pretty solid straight up elimination. 3 dice are going to go up against this 20 here. Oh my, 16 to 8. They didn't need 3 dice, and a 20 has been eliminated. That's a bit of a setback for the polynomials, but not too bad. Oh, a 1 and a 4 beats a 3. That's 2 of the polynomials that have been defeated. Yeah, very few teams are willing to use this strategy. That's a 6 to 2. Because they're afraid if they lose, like they just did there, 2 of their dice are eliminated rather than 1. Interestingly enough, it's the 10-sideds that have done well so far. Never mind. 12-sided just took out 2 more dice. 3 more dice against a 20, and even though they rolled an 11, they still got beat by a 17. And that is the riskiness of this, Bob, when that sort of thing happens. 9 beats a 7. Their first 10-sided has been defeated. The polynomials are still pretty cocky about this whole thing, especially when they roll. Oh, no, there goes another 20. Maybe this strategy will work, Bob. But there are still 3 20s left, but they're actually holding them back. Now they're sending out the 10s first. Oh, double 1s. That's a really bad thing to lose to a 3. Yeah, these 10-sideds just keep whooping up. A 5 does beat a 2, though. There goes another 10-sided die. The Horde is not doing too badly, but once again, the numbers are definitely favoring the polynomials, especially with so many of the 6-siders surviving. A 3 loses to a 5. And now the 12-sideds are coming out. Well, no, not really. There goes another 12-sided. Polynomials have lost actually quite a bit. 6 to 7. Well, that 12-sided whooped up on 2 dice. 7 to 9. Another 10-sided takes out 2 dice. Yeah, this strategy doesn't seem to work well, although there goes another 10-sided. The Horde is doing a little bit better in this time. Ooh, a natural 12. That is not a good thing. Now here comes the 20s. 14 to 15. Oh, that's a heartbreaking loss here, folks. To almost beat a 20. And there's a 14 beating 3 more dice. These 20 are powerful. They're going to send in all 4 against the next, the maximum they can send in, and wow, did they whoop up on that 20. Alrighty, the Horde is not much of a horde anymore. And yes, many of the polynomials have been taken out, but there is still an air of we don't care coming from the polynomial side. Back to the rounded sides, it's kind of a 1-to-1 situation here. But if this keeps up, there's really not going to be a lot that the Horde can do. So, although they just did eliminate yet another one of the round dice, there's only 6 of the round dice left, but that one just won. So 2 have made it through to round 3. 5 to 4, 3 have made it through. 5 to 2. Rounded dice are on a roll here. No pun intended. Well, I don't know that you should be using puns. Bob, no one asked you. 5 to 3. All right. Well, that kind of worked out well. Now the polynomials are here. They still have 3 20s. They have 3 12s and 4 10s. They always, 4 12s and 4 10s. So they're going to send in the 10s first. This is a way to weed out stuff, and indeed it is. There goes 2 more of the 6-sided dice, getting beat by a 9. And oh, heartbreaking, a 10 beating a 9. Man, the 10s just are on fire today. Well, not that one. As soon as we say that, one of them was eliminated. But only 1 to be eliminated? Oh man, a 9 beating an 8. Ah, well, looks like it's not going to be good news for the Horde, especially with another natural 12 being rolled. If you think about it, the 2 6-sided should beat a 12 every time. 11 beating a 4? This is ridiculous. The Horde just cannot win here. A 7 beating a 5? And we even got to the 20s yet. Oh, there's 112. Out of 5 beats a 4. Here come the 20s. Let's see what happens. 18, doesn't matter what the other guys roll. That's 3 out. 120 makes it through. Another 18. That is ridiculous. And a 16 beats 13. Woo, those 20s just mopped up. The Horde is now down to 8 dice. This is ridiculous. We're not even sure why we're watching this. It's kind of a shame. Bob, if you don't like the sport, why don't you go watch dice basketball instead? 5 beating a 2. Elimination. Double elimination. Well, we don't think there's even enough here. 6 beats a 3. Oh, man. All right, well, the 6-siders, they're bringing out a 20 right away. They're going to try to eliminate them all in one shot here, which is likely since they rolled a 5. 18 to a 5. That is crushing. There's only one of the Horde left. They're sending out a 20. That's how cocky they are. 16 beats a 3. The Horde has been completely wiped out. It wasn't even close. Well, what are we going to do in this regard? The Horde's not saying anything. They're just driving their vehicle away. Very weird. So this side is doing really well. We've heard of some infighting here amongst that, but it seems like that has gone well. If they continue to do well, they're going to be going to the championship. Can this undefeated team be stopped? I don't know.